Welcome to the American Med Spa Association podcast, Medical Spa Insider. This week, AmSpa founder Alex Thiersch is speaking with Shannon Blake, Director of Medical Spa Partnership at Podium, Traci Andreason, founder of Rise Rejuvenation Center, and Cortney Hall with True Medical Spa.
Welcome. This is Alex Thiersch. Welcome to Medical Spa Insider. And we have on the hotline today, the AmSpa hotline, we are very lucky to have a really cool group of med spa owners. And then, of course, Shannon Blake with Podium. You have become a regular. You're one of our favorite guests. Thank you so much for coming. We also have Traci Andreason, right? Did I get that right-ish? And who is with Rise Rejuvenation Center, and Cortney Hall, who is with True Medical Spa. And we are here. It is the week of Thanksgiving for those of you who are trying to get acclimated. And we want to talk about, all things kind of holidays, ending the year, how things are going, what folks with medical spas are thinking about as we get close to the end of the year and prepping for next year, all of the above and everything in between. Before we get going though, Traci, let's start with you. Just if you could, because I know you've been to our boot camp, you've done some of the things for us. You've got a very successful med spa. Tell folks a little bit about what it is that you're doing, about your med spa, and how many locations, focus, things like that. Just a quick little 30-second update.
I'm Traci Andreason, and I'm the owner and CEO of Rise Rejuvenation Center. I also have a consulting and training business called Injector's Guide that I also love. I own Rise with my husband, and we are the dynamic duo behind the scenes. Our big goal with Rise was to create a space that was really empowering, uplifting, and really encouraged people to rise to their potential, no pun intended. Inside and out. So we have a very holistic approach. And we've been in business at Rise for 2 years, and we just have our one location, a team of 12.
And remind me, this is in Utah, correct? I think?
Yes. Right outside of Maria, Utah.
Okay, awesome. I'm telling you, Utah is like the epicenter for all things tech and aesthetic. So it's crazy to see what's going on there. Cortney, give us a little background about you. You've been on the podcast before. You've got an incredible background. You've done a lot for the industry, both in consulting, managing, things like that. Let us know what you're up to these days, and oh my God, we have a little interloper. Cortney, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. My name is Cortney Hall. I'm the COO here at True Medical Spa and partner as well. And we just actually kind of relaunching, regrowing the business here. We're introducing hair transplants. That's a huge passion of mine. I love the industry. I love the procedure, and do a little bit of consulting on the side as well. But we're also located in Utah, just in Draper, and excited to be on the show.
Yeah. And Shannon, let's round out the Utah triumvirate with Podium. What's Podium been up to? How are you? And it's great to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for always having me on, Alex. It's always a treat.
Yeah.
Podium, I'm sure most of you have probably heard about us from now. We're happy to report that we now work with over 1,600 aesthetic practices in the U.S., which is very exciting, growing quickly. But for those of you who somehow haven't heard of us yet, we are a lead consolidation and conversion platform for aesthetic practices all around the U.S. and have most recently been focusing on leaning heavy into AI, since there's some really neat things you can do to leverage AI from an efficiency perspective. So I'm sure at some point we'll talk a bit about Avery and how she can be an extension of your team, just having very human conversations with text. But we also have been up to launching AI voice, which we can talk a little bit about later as well. So always doing fun, innovative things to help solve problems for aesthetic practices everywhere.
Can't wait. It's all about AI and tech stacks, and Utah, again, is the hub of all those things. And Cortney, I think the last time when we spoke first, I think we were talking about AI. And I want to say you were, the big joke was that one of us was AI generated. And I think we confirmed that was not the case. So this is a great group to talk about kind of marketing and closing out the year, because this is a good time and a big time for med spas. We see a ton of activity. there's certain things that people do. I know that some people run specials, other people don't run specials. I would love to know, just kind of out of curiosity, here we are heading into Thanksgiving. You've got the time between now and the holidays. What are you all doing to kind of capture that influx? And if there's a group out there right now that's maybe not so busy and thinking, oh, you know what, gosh, what can I do to get busier? What kind of advice do you have for them? Because this is such a cool, interesting time for med spas in general, and the holidays tend to be a time whenever everything picks up. And so how do you handle it? How do you take advantage of it? What's the secret sauce? Traci, let's start with you first.
Okay, great. Well, I am, it's a hot topic for me, discounts in the med spa space. I think it's a fine balance between offering rewards to clients and getting new leads in with incentivizing them with specials, but also not commoditizing or devaluing our services. So at Rise, we really focus on keeping that always in the front of our minds, even when it feels like a really good idea to go offer large discounts. We really steer clear of that and really only discount commodities like gift cards and retail. And then we also focus on how to reward loyalty and referrals and the things that ultimately help grow our business with the right kind of client. And we'll offer, no setup fee for memberships or additional incentives for referrals, or buy a gift card, get one for your friend, like that kind of thing that really rewards people in a way that rewards our business too, and make sure that we're growing in the direction that we want, and we're not going to be attracting the Groupon shoppers or the discount chasers, and making sure that we get to establish really good relationships with our clients.
Are you doing anything specific though for the holidays though? Is this a time when you roll anything out? Like it's, again, like if it's not discounting, which I agree, that's great. But is there a specific kind of pitch or a hook that you're using? And I guess taking a step back even, do you see this time of year being a huge or any type of an increase for you as far as patient base revenue coming in, things like that?
Great question. I would say naturally this time of year, probably for a lot of med spas, it's a little bit busier because we're all seeing exes and in-laws, and we want to get, beautified for those group gatherings. But definitely we have strategy this time of year. We will offer, and they know basically twice a year, we offer good discounts or specials. We try not to use the phrase discounts around our anniversary and around holidays. And so right now we're running a gift card sale that they buy 500, get 50, buy 750, get 100. And so a lot of people will stack up on those gift cards and then use them on themselves. So they essentially are getting up to 20% off services if they're using those gift cards. So we do that. We have a big retail sale that we're doing text campaigns for, linking out products on socials to take advantage of our Black Friday deals on our website. So we definitely launch a lot of that. We waive all membership fees. We have complimentary consultations during the holidays. So a lot of different little strategies around that to kind of build the hype of getting people in. And then I would say lastly would be, we host a little VIP holiday party. All of our members get in free. And those who are not members pay a ticket price, but they get a credit toward Rise, the same value. So if it's a $25 event, they get a $25 credit toward Rise once they show up.
That's cool.
That's been a really great, it's a great way to just get a lot of people in the same room and kind of create some hype around new services and new products. And so we'll kind of save our exciting holiday stuff for that party. And then after that big party it trickles down to social media. But we try to keep it as like, this is an exclusive opportunity to hear about this first, the services first. And it's been a huge success both years.
That's awesome.
One thing that Traci at Rise and her team do really well is rewarding loyalty. She talks about that a lot. It's a lot of like some of the more relevant and value added specials that they run are for their members. So I think that's really smart too.
Yeah. Traci, how many folks do you typically get at your holiday party? Like how big are we talking?
We usually limit it to 50. Like we try to keep it really very niche. It's out. We try to just create a little bit of exclusivity. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, no, that works.
They do it inside of Rise, which I think is really fun. It's not at some, cold event center somewhere. It's right inside where their business is ran. So I think it's they do a really good job with their parties.
That's awesome. And then all right, so it's things that are getting to increase people to come in, but you're not discounting kind of your services. You're doing value adds, things like that, which is what I hear a ton of. Cortney, how about you guys? What's your holiday game plan?
So besides changing it 25 different times and stressing overly about it, I've nailed it down. And I think it really is like where your business is at too. What age of your business? What is your objectives and goals? Me and Traci have talked about this before, and it's hard in November. I don't know if you guys have found this, but it's Black Friday, but then your specials run all month long. So it's really not Black Friday, or you're running a special and then you're running Black Friday on top of it. And it gets like very overwhelming, I think, for consumers. So I was trying to really limit that. And I went just this last week, finished our online shop to where when we send a text blast out on Podium, that there's a link that you can now shop right there. You're buying it right online. I don't know about you guys, but I'm an online shopper. I admit it, and I'm addicted. So I do have our online shop ready to go. And I did from Thursday to Monday. So capturing, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and everything's 20% off. All services, all product. Just keep it super simple. It will be discounted at checkout, and then we can fulfill those orders. So I just try to simplify. I think when I see so many specials, I'm like, I can't even keep track. I wanted our clients. And then we have a membership program as well. So at checkout, all of my, in my text to members and on social media, there is a code Santa 1 or something like that, and they get an extra 5. So just I want to incentivize still those members so they're not like, why am I even a member if everyone's getting the discount? So just trying to giving them a little something special, but only 4 days.
You raised a good point though, because we were looking at doing like a Black Friday special or something like that. And then I was like, well, we've got Cyber Monday, you've got all the other stuff. And it's like, it almost becomes, and then you do free Black Friday specials, and it becomes this whole thing where you get into doing these specials and you can never get off of it. And that was the thing that honestly, it's we've shied away from doing that for that exact reason, because then the other thing is that people say, well, if you're doing a special on Black Friday, you're probably going to do one around New Year's, you're going to do one around whatever. And so it kind of trains them to think about that. I'm curious, just from all of you, how do you given the holidays is such a time for gifts and doing these kind of special things, and I think it's important to obviously reward your clients. How do you do that without getting into this kind of this like discount creep where people are waiting for discounts, they're expecting discounts, they're asking for discounts? What's the way around that? How do you manage that? Anyone want to go first? And Shannon, I'd love to hear from you on this too.
I think it's adding value to it. Yeah. So if you had Botox that you were selling or filler, adding a value to it instead of taking away and discounting. But Traci, you can tell me, I mean, she's provider too. I feel like it's important to watch that discount as you're paying your employees.
Well, no, but Cortney, what would you add? Are you talking about adding value in what way?
Like I love, let's say you buy 40 units of Dysport, get 10 free, or buy 40 units of Dysport, you get a free Elastin product, or whatever that is, to add value to it. And of course, I always love to add value to who can help compensate, so it's not eating into the margins of the business. So if a vendor gave some free cleansers or whatever, just an example, that's something that we can add to it, and it's not taking that profit away from the bottom line.
One thing that I'll say is that I think business owners, practice managers tend to forget how much power we have over the behavior of the consumer. And even just something as little as rebooking, like we rebook everybody every time. That's just the way it goes. We're not asking if they want to rebook. And we've had people come in with their friends and they'll say, oh, you'll have to let me know when you come back in so I'll know when to come. And they're like, oh, you'll book before you leave. Right. And like that behavior was because of our behavior. So I believe if you're trying to avoid having that discount creeping where people are just waiting, one, stop discounting, because I do, especially as a growing business, I get the pressure. I mean, we're in our baby phase. Like we're trying to grow a bunch of different providers. We have a med spa on every corner here in Utah, and they're running massive discounts. I mean, I'm not going to compete because I don't want that reputation, because for me, it's the long game. What I want is people that value the quality we have here. They value our providers' time. They're not, they're just loyal and going to give referrals. I find as a provider, my insight to that is that's really what makes a happy, healthy culture, is that your providers feel like their time is valued. They have clients in their chair that value their time and their service and see the quality. So we are really loud about, I mean, like I said, it's a hot topic. I'll get on my Instagram stories and kind of get on my soapbox about it, because it's something that I think is a race to the bottom if we get so caught up in trying to grab as many clients will come if we discount well enough, and then start to grow our business once we have enough clients in from discounts. And I think the opposite approach is what I try to do. Very difficult in a city that is so saturated, is to do the opposite, which is stand firmly in the value. I think value over price. Like, this is the value set for, let's say, lip filler. That's because I believe it's worth that much. I know it's worth that much. I'm confident it is. And the moment I discount that for somebody, I'm admitting that it's only that valuable, or that provider, she's so new that she's not as good. So I think we have a big responsibility to dictate consumer behavior. And that's kind of is keeping that in mind at all times, that they're watching, they're learning, and you're teaching them how to interact with your business.
It's so interesting because it's like you can, and the minute you give a little bit, it kind of opens up that door, and they learn something new. And again, it's like you want to be respectful and thoughtful, and you want to give to your loyal customers, but at the same time, you've got a business to run. It's also it's more difficult, I feel like, when you're starting out, because you're trying to make money, you're trying to keep the lights, you're trying to get going. And like you said, getting those clients in the door sometimes seems more important than getting the revenue in the door for the value that you're charging. Shannon, this is like probably your like best time. You guys like sending texts out like constantly.
Yeah, there's a lot I have to say about the text messaging piece, but I did want to just comment on what Traci's talking about. Both these ladies do a really good job at this, but I watch them both on their social media strategies and the content that they're putting out with folks that are following them. And there's a lot of just informational, educational content. Even Trace, I think about you and like what you do with your getting ready with me morning routines, and sharing your advice on what's like a quick and dirty way to still look fresh and clean, or okay, here's a more in-depth bedtime routine, for example. That's value in itself. People love that stuff, and that's just for free. So you're getting people that are following you that are getting value. So then they're following you, then they're intrigued, then they book an appointment, and now they're less, you say all the time on social, we rarely do discounts. Here's why. We believe in our products. So they're following you, they're getting value, and they're hearing you, so that when you do specials, it means something. So I just think both these ladies do a good job at giving to the community through their social media strategy. They're both very active on social and always just giving out advice and guidance. And I just think that's a better hook to get folks in the door. And then it's just relationship and experiences and standing behind the value of the product and creating confidence in yourself that you're going to give them, the best outcome. So
having those processes in place to make sure that you're getting them back. So you've done the get ready with me, Traci, because if I did that, I feel like Instagram or whatever would shut down, and there would be I'd be swatted, because nobody wants to see that. That's for sure. I'm always so curious about that, because like people do that, and they really get a ton of people love watching that stuff. So it's like, and you've done a great job, I think, of getting people. You have to be authentic, and you have to show who you are and what you're comfortable doing. And because you can't, I think one of the things people struggle with social media, and tell me your thoughts on this, is they try to do what other people are doing. And of course you take inspiration, but the bottom line is you can't do something that you're not comfortable with, and it's not true yourself.
So true. Yeah.
No.
I think that's the key to being successful on social media. And especially, what does that mean? Like successful, not necessarily having followers, but having people that convert to clients, or having better education for the industry, whatever it is that the goal is. I think the more, I always think of the 3 E's: engaging, educational, and entertaining. And if you're not one of those 3, then you got to rethink your strategy. And I usually try to do a combo of 3, but I find the more authentic you are, it's kind of like if you're watching reality TV. No one wants to watch the person that's like shy. You want the one who's like stirring the pot and saying it like it is. And even if you don't agree with them, you're still like, hell yeah, they're willing to like say it and speak it, and it's entertaining. And then you have a captive audience. So a lot of times I'll strategize, even around the holidays, is to come up with entertaining, engaging, a value add content, and then follow it with our promotions, because nobody wants to see our promotions. No one cares about that. They're on social media to be entertained,
Yeah. That's true.
Cortney, I love that you brought up, sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to cut you off. I love that you brought up offering, with said treatment, you get a skincare product, because y'all carry, and I know you've got this very closely, but you carry incredible products in your spa that can help women's skin look better and feel better. And so getting that in their hands so they can try it, and they've also supported your business in the treatment, but that they can try it and become, fall in love with it and see the value of it. And then they're coming back and buying more product. So that's such a smarter way to go about it than just 20% off this treatment. You're giving them an opportunity to find potentially the skincare line that they are going to use for a very long time into the future, and buy it from you. So
right. And it gives you another opportunity to follow up with them, see how they're liking that product too, get their feedback. And I obviously do that through Podium. I just shoot your text message in a couple days, see how they're liking it. And it's just another way to create peak moments to make sure that they know, like, we value you. We're following up, how we're building that relationship. It's one more relationship builder that you can use.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And to your point, Alex, this is a busy time for folks using Podium to use our text marketing features for sure. I think for obvious reasons, just getting, a 98% open rate on any promotions that you are running, any specials that you happen to be running. It's just getting that information out to your subscribers in an easy way. But also, not every text has to be that there's a discount or a special or promotion. Like leveraging text marketing to send out some educational information. And this goes for the entire year. There's different seasons for skin, especially in places like Utah. And so taking the time to send out maybe a link to an educational article that you put together. Or I think, Trace, I saw you doing a favorites shopping guide for spouses and sending that out in text marketing, and a link to give people gift ideas. Like, there's just so much more to text marketing in the holidays than just take a peek at our specials.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions, because one, what you just brought up that I think is important is guys like me who want to get thoughtful gifts but are terrible at gift giving. That, gift ideas for husbands, I think, would be perfect. Like, and how do you reach the men who maybe aren't, and this is maybe a kind of a bigger question, who maybe aren't clients or patients yet, but their spouses are patients? Because that's one way to really get to someone, if you can actually get to their husband so they can give money. And then another question that I have as a follow-up, and you can take either one of these in whichever order you want. We were actually getting ready to purchase a gift for somebody in our family who's older, and we wanted to buy it from a local med spa. This is someone who's never been to a med spa before, and we were going to get some skincare or something like that. But the skincare, we didn't really know how to describe it in a way, because how is it better, right? How is it better than going to Walgreens and getting whatever it is? So we were struggling a little bit with the information there. Anyway, both questions: how do you get to the men, and educating your public so they can give good, thoughtful gifts? Who wants to go first?
Tracy, go ahead. You're good at that. I think I was going to say, start telling the wives to whisper into their phones what they want, because doesn't that populate on their cell phone? Like,
is that Louis
Vuitton purse, like when you're in the house. So just a tip, you guys can share that, put it on your social.
That's why I've been getting like property from the south of France showing up on my phone.
Amazing. Pay attention. No, go ahead. Well, I have to share something fun we did at our event because that's funny you bring that up. We were trying to crack that code. Like, how do you reach the people who aren't looking at us, who would be purchasing for our clients, which are spouses? We put together a little, like a Santa's letter activity at our event. And so the person who came was a client or a potential client would write the things that they learned about that night or products that they liked that they heard about. And if they didn't get it that night, they'd fill out this cute little like branded Santa letter and put it in the envelope and then address it to the person they want to give it to as like a wish list.
That's cute.
That was fun. Of course, it's a very small scale, right? It's just our 50th event. But I think the other thing is the gift guides that I made one for men and women, and we put it on the blog on our website. So that's, Googleable. And then I link it in my social media. It's on the link tree. So there's multiple places for the gift guide. And one strategy that I utilized was not just putting stuff from Rise on there. There was other product like for men, there was a Carhartt jacket and stuff that I would buy for my husband. And then a couple little Rise things sprinkled in. And I think that helps because it feels less promotional and more just helpful, like value add. Like, listen, I know your whole tree is not going to be filled with Rise Rejuvenation Center gifts. Let me make it for you. And maybe you're going to scratch my back by clicking that Rise link while you're in there.
I love that marketing. I saw it and I was like, that's one of my favorites, is to incorporate different things, not just what we carry.
Well, I love the wish list that you send to somebody. That's a hint. If I was to get that from my wife, I would know exactly what to do, and that would be a perfect thing, and I would execute on that every time. So, but you're right. That's kind of a small scale. That's awesome. I'm curious, how far ahead before the holidays do you start planning all this stuff, Traci?
Typically the previous quarter, so not that far out.
Yeah. How about you, Cortney? What's you're busy?
I go with the previous quarter as well, but this time it was like last week. So.
Of course we get busy. So Shannon, what's up?
I just wanted to ask them, but I know, Cortney, you haven't had a chance to talk about how you get to the men, and I actually would like to hear from you because your background is offering services for men. So
yeah, that's right.
You absolutely should have a chance to answer that. And then I would love for you ladies to share just like high level, your marketing strategy. Is it heavy social? Is it email marketing? Is it, more text? Like, what's the makeup of how you're pushing that out into the world? So men first.
Good question.
I'd love to hear from
Traci. So with hair transplants here and
well, and I do think we need to clarify, you are attracting the men because of the hair transplant, not because just generally you attract men. Like that was, I was like, wow, it's Shannon. You're saying, Cortney, you've got the men.
Shannon wrote it. Actually, not me.
But, so I guess however you want to go with that is fine.
Yeah. So through hair transplants, we bring men in. In the past, we also did, we're really heavy on male enhancement as well. And so every men's service through, Gainswave, acoustic shockwave, hair transplants, I would gift them a $100 gift card to give to their girlfriend, their mom, just anyone that they wanted to say, look, I got this, use it on themselves. Even more importantly, like if you didn't want to come in for our other services, let's gift this to somebody that you know. And that really did work very well in the past. So that was one way to I was already targeting men through SEO to come in for hair transplants, but seeing who else they have as well. That's one of the reasons.
I have a follow-up question to that. Do you do that in reverse? Like with I know that y'all have a lot of female clients as well at True Medical Spa. Do you ever, and this could probably get dangerous, but like market to the women about their husbands or boyfriends about some of the hair transplant services that y'all offer?
Yeah, because just marketing, we have it on our front desk. And so people will always be like, oh my gosh, my husband totally needs that. Or I have a friend that's been wanting that. And it's just kind of a gateway to open up that conversation. Because one thing we never want to do is assume that somebody wants to fix it. They're fine with it. They don't want it. So we're never like,
I mean, I'm constantly looking at every man's hairline. I don't say it out loud. I'm like, oh, I'm quoting graphs in my head as we go. And so is my son, which is even funnier. But yeah, absolutely. Look, we also do hair transplants. It's a new procedure here. But also what's really fun is doing like women and men brow transplants. So it's not just for men that their hair is thinning. Women's brow transplants, I'm telling you, mark my word, it's going to be on the rise for permanent brow transplants.
Wow.
On the rise for Traci.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And just kind of in general, like I think to Shannon's question, I think it's a good one. Like, what's the overall kind of marketing allocation? How are you doing this as far as getting the word out? Is it mostly social? Do you do any direct mail, anything in some of the local kind of, high-end magazines, which I've seen a few things of? What's the allocation for your marketing spend and for your marketing efforts around the holiday?
Yeah, I work with a marketing agency, and we have for hair, it's a very, very competitive market. And so we're on the lower end actually from what most people are spending for hair, but we do about $4,000 a month for SEO. And that's to capture those leads, which, not to like bring in Podium, but I do need those to go right into Podium so I can respond back quick as possible. But yeah, it's that and on social. So that's been, and it's a slow game to get up and going, but we're staying consistent with it. And I think that's key to it too, is not thinking just because you're launching marketing for a month that it didn't work, I'm quitting, I'm canceling that agency. It does take time to build, that SEO since Google rules the world. You have to be very patient.
Traci, what about you? Where's the bulk of your marketing going?
Mine's actually pretty similar. Ad spend on Google Ads, constantly playing the Google game of figuring out how to, and definitely our conversion rate has improved immensely also from using Podium, because that lead consolidation takes it from, any promo we're running, we're going to hit it from multiple areas. Typically we're doing text, email, Google Ads, social media, and then we'll do events and local outreach. And so we can get a text, we can get a DM, we can get an email, we can get a website form filled out, we can get a Google Ads lead, and they all go into into Podium. And we actually have AI. And so to maximize the budget that we're putting out there to try to gain leads, we have taught our AI that we use when we're running some sort of promo. We'll go on the back end and teach her about, here's the promo. So when we do get a lead that comes in that mentions anything, she's responding accurately and getting them to the point of booking. That's key, right? If you don't have a way to handle the leads that are coming in, it doesn't matter what you're doing, get them in.
No kidding.
But, that's mostly it. Social media is definitely our biggest, most successful.
And are you doing any paid social, or is it all just kind of organic?
We're just barely getting into that. We haven't launched our first one yet, but I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Part.
So Shannon, let's talk about the AI and Podium, because it's a huge thing. Getting the AI, Avery, in this, in your sense, to be able to talk intelligently about what's coming in is huge. And especially when it comes to specifics around the holidays, things like that, specific treatments. How's that going for you guys? I know you've been big on the AI. You guys have really doubled and tripled down on that, and it's so, your product is really, really cool. What's the latest there, and how's it going?
Yeah, it's going really good. We have learned a lot, I will say. Avery is what we call her, our AI patient coordinator. She has come a long way. I think what we learned really quickly early on is you can train her and upload on the back end pricing, new member rates, specials you're running, your membership programs and the different levels and the treatments you offer, all of it. But the reality is you still have to continue to train your AI employee. And so some of the adjustments that we've made to help with this is when Avery, your AI patient coordinator, responds to something, it actually will source for the business. They can actually see where is she pulling that information from, because if she says something slightly off that you don't love, you know exactly where she got that from and where to go adjust it on the back end. So I think adding transparency to our clients who are using AI is huge, because it gives you a direction on where to go fix it or enhance kind of how she's responding. And then also giving our clients access to making a lot of those adjustments themselves versus having to go in through customer service, put the request in, wait for them to make the changes. It just giving the power to our clients to be able to control some of the back end training of Avery has been huge. So just like any AI, it feeds off of more information and just experience in answering questions. So I love that what Traci said the other day, you only have to course correct Avery once and she doesn't make the same mistake again, which is really nice, because you can't always say that about humans. We tend to make mistakes over and over again. And so that is one nice thing about AI, is once you course correct, it's nearly impossible for them to make that same mistake. So that's been really fun. And then we also are going to be taking AI to the next level. And this will be interesting to see how this plays out in aesthetics. But we will be launching AI voice next year, which we're really excited about. So this is the ability to have AI answer phone calls, whether you want this to happen just after hours, where you want your staff to have a work-life balance and they're not going to be able to answer every single call, having the ability for Avery to answer questions about services and just have very human conversations about any treatments that they're looking into. I think that's going to be a really fun way to play with AI.
Can't wait for that. Are you going to be able to make it sound like Mr. T or who else? Because you can do that with your phone. That's what I
exactly.
I need options.
All of that, Alex. And I would love if we did, I know we joke about this, but doing a podcast where we welcome in Avery and have her as part of this conversation. That'd be awesome.
I would love to do it. I'm on board for that. I'm a little nervous and terrified as to what will happen, but nevertheless, let's do it. Let's as soon as she is ready to rock and roll, we're going to have her on. I'm curious. So Traci and Cortney, to the extent you've used it, what's your experience been with AI, and overall positive, or are you worried about them taking over the world like I am?
Oh, I love AI. I am an AI fan. Yes, I actually just bought a device this morning. Again, I opened up Instagram, ad, purchase before I was out the door, but it was something AI related to, and I'm like fascinated and can't wait for it to get here. So I am all about AI, and it has made my life way easier.
Now, what is it primarily used for? Is it for client communication, or what's the primary use that you have for AI?
I think it's creating anywhere from, your marketing, your text campaigns. From I've had to recap really long emails from meetings, and I'll put in like what it used to do, and then it's like so professionally laid out. I'm like, that is way smarter than I would have wrote that email. It kind of just finesses what I want to say. It gets it across really well. So I would say, that, and then Instagram captions, things like that, where you need to get something done really quick. Chat GPT fits it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Traci, how about you?
Cortney will be, Trace, before you answer, I was going to say, Cortney will be using Avery soon enough, and we'll be able to speak to her. They're a newer med spa rebuilding their client base, but they're getting busier and busier every day. So the ability to stay on top of every single lead will eventually be something that they will need. So excited to get her hands on Avery, but Traci can definitely speak to Avery because they've been using her.
Yes. And we renamed our Avery Claire.
I love it.
And
That's awesome.
It's actually been a really entertaining onboarding her. We're about 2 months in to using her in our practice, and it's really cool, very customizable with Podium. You can use it just after hours. You can use it 24/7. You can use it where she can be a part of every conversation, or you can have it so she's only part of conversations that somebody else isn't already assigned. Like if I start talking to a patient, she can't speak, or you can opt to let her conversate with you and kind of take over. So it's kind of interesting. You can kind of figure out how much and how you want her to be involved in it. And we went all in, jumped off the diving board deep end, because I really wanted to see and maximize her potential and see what an impact it could have from going from nothing to something. And Shannon can probably back me with better data or numbers, but
our response time prior to having Podium at all was really fluctuant. Sometimes 19 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 32 minutes, depending on like how many days were we closed, how many, were we working 1 or 2 front desk people that day. And then we brought on Podium, and our average was almost consistently close to 4 or 5 minutes. And with Avery now, we're at 2 minutes consistently. Month over month is consistently 2 minutes or less. And I think everybody who's listening could probably understand why that's so important. You have people that are getting bombarded by all this marketing right now, and you want to be the first one to respond, or you're going to lose that lead. So that's been probably the most amazing thing, because she's turned on all the time, so we don't miss a single thing. That being said, she is a new employee. I think about it like, imagine hiring somebody, and then, you're like, hey, here's our protocol manual, look it over. You probably forgot to put some of the nuances in the protocol manual, because it's just black and white. You're not putting like all the details and things that make you, right? You're putting together like basically med spa metrics. And then you're asking that employee to never ask for help and just go ahead and try to do her best every time. And there are some laughable moments. I actually sent Shannon a funny one. This is not one of the cringy ones. This is a funny one. We have a client who has a sense of humor and knows that we onboarded AI. And we sent out a holiday text campaign. And he responded writing like this clearly like ChatGPT written holiday poem about med spas. And she writes back, it is so funny. She said something like, wow, what a lovely poem, with a little heart. And
oh, it's like an AI relationship.
Yes. And then he responded with more poem, and she's like, and what a lovely way to put it. And I had a client once respond with like, love you so much. Thanks, Trace, XO. And Claire wrote back, XO, with a kissy face. I'm like, so good. But she's doing her best. And honestly, most of the time I'm like, okay, that's good. I like it. But we've had our moments, which is like if you have a new employee and you're like, oh, cringing a little bit. I will say she's never destroyed an opportunity. Like she's so smart from the jump that she's not going to like ruin a lead opportunity or turn something down. Her goal with every conversation is to get the client in your space. And most of the time she knows her limits and knows like, I don't have that answer and I'll get that to you. But she also does have enough information that sometimes she'll craft with all the data you've given her a response that's less than ideal. So you're like, okay, that's a C+ at best. But it's kind of cool because you can immediately go in, just like Shannon said, even find out like, where did she get that? Because she's not a super robotic. She doesn't take your like, it's basically like a Q&A that you upload to the back end. She doesn't take it and just repeat it. She crafts it into conversational based on how they ask the question. And so you don't sometimes know like the little nuances you need to train an AI with, because they're taking that black and white, So it's never happened twice. She doesn't make the same mistake twice, but we have definitely, I always recommend now when I talk to other people who are onboarding an AI to try to break AI before you release her to the wild. Like,
good advice. Try to break her first.
Try to break her, because you don't know, like some of the random questions people ask from like just little things. Like someone said, what do I do for puffy eyes? And I had never put in for puffy. I did dark circles, tear trough, right? All the other, but I hadn't said puffy. And she came up with her own recommendation, which wasn't necessarily wrong, but it definitely wasn't right, and you're like, oh. We've had someone ask a similar question and she absolutely nailed it. And she's like, it's so good. Every week she gets better and better. And first our staff was like, oh, holy shit, our whole life is upside down, because we have this like AI just going off. Like she is responding within 60 seconds and just saying whatever it is she thinks she should say. And so down.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Better.
It's really cool.
It's better now.
I thought at least she didn't start talking about like Puff Daddy or anything like that. That would have been bad.
No.
So you can set those parameters.
No,
That's
she
good.
does so good. And she is so valuable. I think if you're not using AI in the med spa space, you're already behind,
Yeah.
I mean, that's so, no, go ahead, Shannon, please.
I was just going to say, what you were just saying, Trace, if you're not using it, we actually just ran a survey that came back. It was sent out to 700 consumers in the industry. And 43% of folks are searching and looking at treatments that med spas offer after hours when they're closed, which is a huge percentage. So think about how can you use AI to fill the gap of being there for these people that are searching for treatments and services you offer when they want to talk to you about them. And that's where AI can really come in handy, is not having to be on your phone answering questions about services or treatments. Let AI do that after hours. So I wanted to mention that, and Trace, such a brilliant suggestion. Have your team play with it and try to break it, because they're going to think of stuff that maybe you couldn't have thought of, that they thought of. And you can go in and really get AI to a really comfortable place, even before putting it out into representing your company. So I thought that was a really good suggestion.
Yeah, and I have a question. Does when the AI, when Avery is talking, or Claire is talking to your clients, does the client know that it's AI, or do they think it's actually somebody, like an actual person? And the reason I ask is that because, like, I could think there's some grace. You can say, all right, well, they're doing AI. I get it. Like there's, but at the same time, you know, it's ideally you want it to sound like it's just a person and it's all seamless.
Yeah, I'll answer from my perspective what we hear from clients, and then Traci, I know she has her own angle on it. We hear all of the time from our clients that people call in asking for Avery. There's reviews that get left about Avery and how helpful she was in answering the questions. Like, it is, if you don't say that it's AI, she can fool people. I know some of our clients' strategy is not to hide the fact that they have an AI employee. And I think, Trace, that's kind of the angle you guys have taken, right? Like, you've kind of introduced Claire out on social that you're hired a new AI employee. So
Yes. Yes. I was just actually pulling up on my phone an example of Claire or Avery hitting it out of the park. So we had a client who still hasn't come in yet. And she had to reschedule an appointment. She's literally not talked to one of our staff members yet. Okay, she's scheduled, minus the fact that we had to schedule her appointment, but all of her conversations about how to book, what to book, pricing, everything. And she had to reschedule. And so, Claire's talking to her about, what day and time are you looking for? Anyways, they're going back and forth. And the final word from this client who's never come in before was, "Thank you. I will be spreading the word about this office. You are all phenomenal." And
I love it.
She really is. Like, I know I was harping on her earlier, but she really is so good. And we've thought about, especially, like, maybe I would have done it differently in hindsight, because you can name your AI. So I could have put, like, Claire parentheses AI patient care coordinator, whatever I wanted to call it. But I didn't. But we do have a template. Mm-hmm. A regular Podium template that goes out. If she is cringy, we'll say, it comes out and says, "Hey, thank you so much for being patient with Claire. She's our new AI patient care coordinator and still making mistakes. I'll take it from here," whatever. And probably I would have from the jump maybe just said something to, like, give her a little bit of grace, or maybe not if I would have spent hours trying to break her, but so the misinformation would be more understanding. But I think most of the time, now that we're pretty well oiled, people are obsessed, and they'll ask our front team, like, "Are you Claire?"
That's awesome.
Like, no, I'm not. So they are convinced.
That's good. That's such a cool endorsement of AI in general, and obviously Shannon of Podium. Now, what's going to happen though when, like, I create an AI to start scheduling my appointments, and I've got my AI talking to your AI, and then you've got your AI training another AI, and it's going to become this whole thing. I mean, once you get the voice activated in their shit, you're going to have Claire train Avery on how to best, use the tone. And I mean, my head's going to be spinning.
My head's just listening to your question.
Yeah, because it's a crazy place to be in my head. Courtney, are you gonna, when you get Avery, are you gonna stick with Avery, or you're gonna name it something?
We're probably gonna name it something else too.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Your baby name.
Oh my gosh, should we do a poll? I don't know. What should we name her? Let's throw it out there to everyone. What should True Medical Spas
I love the name Claire, just to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I do love Claire. I love do Claire, but
we were originally thinking at Podium of naming her Ava AI. So
Yeah.
Ava's cute. Zoe's cute. I think any female modern name will suffice, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
I think there's a little bit of one thing why we named her Claire was Avery sounds really young. And we have such a broad demographic. And we've had people that are like, are you sure your esthetician can handle my skin? Because our estheticians are in their 20s. You know, you get some of that like ageist energy, I would say, here and there. And so we wanted a name that you wouldn't know how old she is. And Claire is a classic. She could be a grandmother. She could be 18. So Court, maybe think about that. You want to have like,
I know I won't name her Karen, just as a bad rep.
I would avoid Puffy also from just, experience. But
you could have a male.
I could have a male. Yeah.
Traci, I'm curious, how did you come up with the name? Did you do like a poll within your team, or was Claire just what you were dying to name it, or how'd you come up with that?
Well, we said we wanted it to be a classy girl's name, and we were all throwing around ideas, and the team voted. So kind of fun. It's like we had a baby, We had a baby.
Yeah.
Just that young baby gift.
Just to bring us full circle on this, I know we're going deep on AI, but truly, we talk about this all the time. Holidays busy. Phones are ringing. Texts are coming in. Website leads are coming in. You're spending money on Google. Really, this is really the time to be thinking about, how do you run more efficiently? How can you leverage AI to help you through the busy season so that your humans inside your practice can really invest the right amount of time in that check-in, check-out process, as well as when they're getting their treatment done. Because the rush of getting people in and out, you're missing those human opportunities to create a meaningful experience and educate and talk through follow-up appointments and recommendations and things like that. So just to bring us full circle, I think AI really can be a huge assistance to y'all in holiday season.
Well, didn't you say that it's about 70 cents an hour, her wage?
Yeah, 70 cents an hour, cheapest employee you'll ever have.
And she's right now we have our gift card sale, and I have Podium open right now, and I can see that she's getting down to the wire of how many gift cards do you want? What quantity? Let me get your name, phone number, email. She is teeing up for what is handled by a human. It's incredible. And 70 cents an hour.
That's what I'll do this weekend. I'll work on getting my back into Avery. So that's what I'll do after turkey dinner, is I'm going to start doing that. Dang it.
Well, as a lawyer, all I can think of is we need to get Avery some better pay. That 70 cents an hour isn't good enough. And we need some benefits and other things like that too to make it work. You know what's cool though? I can't and I think it's a really good point, Shannon, because we're sitting here and I'm sure, Claire Avery is having conversations as we speak, and it's of course it's not going to be perfect, but it will get better and better. And the more that you do it, the you're handling things, you're making transactions, money is coming in when you ordinarily wouldn't be able to do so. We have that issue here at AmSpa all the time. We're still trying to figure out, we have so many things to sell. We're going to get up with the AI Avery. We're working on names ourselves, but it's once you get it going, it's gotta just be almost a weight off your shoulders, because so much of that stuff, how do you train, your front desk people, right, to answer the phone and to say certain things? With AI, there's, to an extent, there's certain things you can do and they remember immediately. So I'm so excited about this, terrified and excited.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And it's been really fun to build out the reporting for AI too. And we're getting ready to release some really cool reporting metrics around, Traci mentioned earlier, medium response time, just having Avery's performance compared to your employees' performance in regards to how fast things are getting responded to, how many appointments Avery is booked compared to the rest of your employees. Just having kind of that comparison so you can really understand what value you're getting from leveraging AI.
And then we're going to have some of the employees going in and telling Avery to say things wrong so they can get their patients back. I mean,
that brings up an interesting point, because I think there's a lot of fear just around AI in general, that's replacing all jobs. And who was it? Elon Musk, who said Shannon, you were telling me this.
Yes, ma'am.
AI is going to replace virtually all jobs eventually. But I do think a way to reduce some of that anxiety, bringing it into a practice, is to show your team what it does for them in their position. I told my guest services team that we basically hired them an assistant. And so when they come in Monday morning, whoever's doing Monday morning, instead of going through and having to start conversations and try to grab those leads that came in over the weekend and, gather all the data to reschedule or whatever it is, instead they go through and audit those conversations and then do any tasks. But they've been teed up. I'm like, your job just got a lot better. Like, you're going to have more people time. I'm utilizing them in more creative ways, which is helping them have some more job satisfaction than being stuck on the computer. So I think it's important to position it that way because there's inherently a lot of fear around being replaced.
Yeah. I don't, it's going to replace jobs that are replaceable, but there's a lot that aren't replaceable. And I think that's the thing. Like, no one's going to know your business better than you. Like, there's no one's going to be able to convey, and who's going to teach AI what the correct tone, and like all that stuff has to be done. It's just, I think the idea is that if we embrace it, it takes some of those menial tasks and it makes us more efficient, right? Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Or we'll all just be speaking cyborg. Either way. Can't wait.
Can't wait.
So listen, it's actually, we are bumping up against time because I have to head out, but this has been awesome. And I want to talk more with you guys because I think we could talk all day about, what's next, what's coming next year, just planning in general, anything business related. And then obviously, I think what we'll do next is we'll get Avery to make a surprise appearance, but we won't say when, and we'll have to be able to pick and find out what the AI generated response is and what it's not. So, but I thank you both so much. You guys, Cortney and Traci, you guys are very busy. And Shannon, of course, it's been amazing. I would love to have you guys just kind of give last word, final thoughts. Traci, start with you and then go to Cortney.
Well, great. Okay. I would say final thoughts this holiday season is to stay authentic and true to your brand and not let the discounting steer you from what your true marketing plan is and what you want for your business.
That's awesome. Love it.
And I would probably end with, we are all so busy, but take time to pause, spend time with your family. This is all going to come again next month, next year, but we have right now. And I think it's very important to be present and enjoy the time off that we do have.
Yeah, that's great advice. Shannon, you need to go for like a mountain biking tour or something to kind of unplug that, right?
I am out here in sunny St. George for that reason, Alex. I want to be able to mountain bike during Thanksgiving, and that doesn't happen in Salt Lake. So I am here. Yes.
That's awesome. But anyway, Shannon, also final words, and anything else you want to add before we sign off for the day?
Yeah. I would say, think about at your medical practice, are you struggling to keep up with the amount of leads that are coming in? Do you know how fast you're responding to leads? Is it less than 5 minutes? If it's not competitive enough. You will be left behind. You will lose leads. Do you have a modern phone system that can move missed calls to text so you're not losing revenue from missed phone calls? All of those things. If any of those are problems for you, definitely Podium is a solution to look into. Podium.com. And I like to plug too with the strategic relationship AmSpa and Podium.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Go ahead.
Yes. Anyone who is not an AmSpa member, we believe heavily in the services that they offer. They have incredible educational content. They crush it at events, local and national. MSS, we cannot wait. In April, it's the best event of the year, in my opinion. We love everything AmSpa does. So anyone who's not a member, if you sign up for Podium, you actually get an AmSpa membership for a year for free on us because we want everyone to be a member. And if you are an AmSpa member, you actually get special pricing off Podium. So be sure to mention that if you're chatting with somebody at Podium. So just a little plug for the benefits that we offer between our relationship with AmSpa. And last but not least, just eat delicious food, y'all, and try not to stress. And what Cortney said, just enjoy some time with family and friends. And
yes,
Alex.
Well said. And we appreciate the partnership with Podium, and I think it's great. And if anyone has questions on that, please let us know. Thank you all so much. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the Medical Spa Insider podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel for future videos and podcasts. For more information about the American Med Spa Association, please check our description below.